Greetings, one and all, to the most cursed, most cringiest corner of the internet. A YouTube channel content creator actively alienating everyone in both the analog and digital world. Well, welcome and good evening, you wonderful dice of all alignments. I am Lunar D8. Hey. Hello? Are you here? Just tell me. I can hear you. Phew, nice, because I was getting worried. Look, we've got a problem. We need your help. Put it bluntly, in these latter days, it happens more and more often. Put it bluntly, and someone up there is getting worried already, and we don't need it, right? You're so docile. I'm lucky. Why? Well, you know, sometimes people suck the soul out of you to get their bearings, and in the meantime, the work is idle. I don't like it at all. Okay, it doesn't matter now. This is what matters. Soon, people will start coming here, and you'll need to deal with them. You see, they're so tangled, and you need help untangle them. And how should I help them? Look, there's a computer to your left. We collected some information about them, but it's not complete. You need to ask them, fill in the gaps, and send them further. Where to send, where they need to. Just be easygoing about it. Where they go will depend on what you write. Just fill in the gaps. We'll do the rest. Got it? Who are these people? I understand you've got a lot of questions. How about this? I answer only one question, so choose wisely. Just folks, not them, but the details of their lives matter. I don't really understand. Not a big deal. You'll figure it out as you go. Well, shall we start? Let's do it. Something easy to get started with. So. Oh, cool, found one. Piece of cake. 2 girls are playing in the attic. One of them fell off the stairs and broke her head. You need to find out all the circumstances of the incident. Holy shit. Now I'm going to send you to it. Attention, the entered data cannot be edited. Note that part of the line is erased. You need to fill them in. Just ask her, and then fill in the information. Basically, that's it. As you can see, it's really easy. Got it? What if they don't answer me? They will. don't worry. Your charm, plus the specific atmosphere of this place, make visitors chatty. But if they lie to me, how to check information? It's hard to lie here. But you can't check it anyway. Go on a hunch. What do you mean by go on a hunch? How can you fill in documents intuitively? Keep quiet. Here you can. Just figure it out as you can, and put things straight. Where is here? We've agreed that I'll answer only one question. Let's keep the arrangement. Okay? For fuck's sake. Don't take it hard, we'll be friends. Secretly. Nobody monitors your job anyway. Other people, without figuring it out, write some rubbish. I disapprove of it, but if they don't care up where, neither do I. Well, if that's sorted out, let's start. Hello? My first visitor. Are you frozen? Asks something before she bursts into tears. She looks sad. I'm not going to cry. Of course. Why should you cry? You are a big girl, aren't you? Not really. I'm 8. Don't you see? You look too sad for your age. Your conversation doesn't go anywhere. Your conversation doesn't go anywhere. I don't want to talk to anyone. Screw up the first case. Not everyone can do that. Girl, what is your name? You shouldn't get out names. That's not how it works here. Much you know about talking to children. Like you're so great at it. 45 years old. Neither family nor children. Like always. No better. Hush. Hush to yourself. Girl, could you tell me your name? May I? Of course, you can. As for me, I am... It slipped my mind. Fuck, it just went out of my head. Fuck! No, you should not talk like that. And you, do you remember your name? Of course, my name is Hannah. Hannah, great, nice to meet you. And don't be afraid of the lady. She's just a voice. I'm not afraid. But why are you sad then? That was an odd little static image. Tweety died. Tweety, who's that? My birdie. Oh, I can see. I had birdies too. What did happen? She died. I got it. Why? I don't know. A cat caught her? I hardly managed to take her away from the cat. I wanted to heal it. Fed her with an eyedropper, cared for her, didn't leave her for 3 days. Stupid cat hurt her wing, and Tweety could not fly. And today I found her dead in a box where I made a nest for her. What did you feed her? Milk, of course. Mom says all children need to drink milk. I don't exactly know what would happen if you give a bird milk, but I could understand that that's not what a bird needs to eat, and the bird would probably die. But that wouldn't be this kid's fault. You know. There was no malice. Heck, it wasn't even negligence. I mean, she was at least trying to care for the bird. Just... Here's the real question. If an 8-year-old has a bird and is caring for it, why is there no adult or parent figure involved? Like, if an 8-year-old is suddenly taking care of a bird that's injured, shouldn't there be an adult that is present enough in this child's life to be able to notice? The first visitor is a girl named Hannah. But weren't you saying something earlier about 2 girls and one fell down like a staircase or something and died? Also, Hannah, there appears to be bloodstains on your shirt. Tweety was a nestling. Yes, maybe. It's a small bird. Was. You like birds, do you, Hannah? I love Tweety. I see. But there are many birds, and you'll be amazed how diverse the magnificent are. Many birds. Tweety was the only one. That is fucked up. Come on, keep your chin up. Chicken is a bird too, and a tasty one. No. Certainly she's going to live forever in your heart. Take care of her. Hey, Tweety, tweet. I'm awfully sorry to bother you, but what about doing things you are here for? I'm doing exactly them. Then let's get to it. For example, ask her what she remembers of anything that happened recently. She remembers a cat killed a bird. Not relevant for the case. Keep working. Fuck. Yeah. Seems like that. I mean, keep it clean. Wow, girl, listen to me. No lady speaks like that. Sorry, I thought she didn't hear. Don't worry, let's get back on track. Okay. My ear is itchy. Hannah, what else do you remember of anything that happened recently? Well, yesterday Mom and I went to the store shopping for a new dress. For your mom? No, why her? She already has some. She doesn't grow, but I do. Like Mom says, by leaps and bounds. So you've got a new dress? Yes, don't you see? Oh, it's dirty. Don't worry, it's not a big deal. No, Mom will be upset and Dad will scold me. Scold? Do you have a strict dad? Yes, Mom says that his job deforms him. What's he doing? He's military, it seems. Why seems? Because military men are in uniform. I've never seen Dad in the uniform. Does he scare you? No, he does a good job. He defends us. Dad says that he has to be strict to have order everywhere. And order is the basis of everything. I think your mom will easily wash it away before your dad notices. You think so? Of course. The dress is not so dirty. Where did your smear like that? Children's playground. At a children's playground. You went to play at a children's playground in a new dress. Yes, wanted to show it to Emily. Who is Emily? My best friend. And our parents are friends. Emily has no dad. And sometimes my dad helps them. Okay. Like Emily's mom says, where they need a man's touch, Dad has a strong touch. We often invite each other to visit. Last week her parents bought her new shoes. So beautiful. I admired them every day. Did you want the same shoes? No. Yes, the same shoes, of course, I'd want them. But if Emily already had them, Why do I need them? They won't be so cool anymore. But Mom bought me a new dress. Look how cool it is. Oops, it was. Did the stain really come out? Of course. Did Emily like your new dress? Don't know. I think not. Why do you think so? First it seemed that she loved it too, but then she turned away and kept playing in the sand. Did it hurt? Don't know. It seemed I had hurt her somehow. That's why she didn't want to say good things about my dress. But it is so cool, right? Of course, the dress is marvelous. Hannah, do you remember what happened next? What did you do with Emily? Of course, I do. We were playing in sand. I tried to be careful not to stain my dress, but Emily, as if intentionally pouring sand on me, even stepped on the edge of my dress with her dirty shoe. Did you fight because of that? A little, not really. How did you make peace? Emily has a secret, and she decided to tell me so that I didn't worry about the dress. What secret? I won't tell you. It's a secret. You can tell me. Why? Because I won't tell anyone, and if I don't tell anyone, it means that the secret stays secret. I think you're lying. Secrets won't work like that. Even so, what is Emily's secret to you? It seems she's not a good friend anyway. She was a good friend. Maybe, but now you don't think so, do you? Look at your gorgeous dress. What has she done with it? I don't like you. Why? You're bad. I'm not bad. I'm just a grown-up. You're bad. I would never want to be like you. That's fine. And what kind you'd like to be? Good. When I grow up, I'll have a family and a lot of children. And I'll help those in need. I'll be a doctor. Yes. Helping people is a good goal. Not people. I'll treat animals. Fine. But it's not doctors who treat animals. They're called veterinarians. But I'm going to be a doctor who treats animals and not a veterinarian. Then you'll be able to treat both animals and people. Yes. Except cats? I won't treat cats. And I won't treat Emily. Why? You're angry with cats because they haunt birds. Yes. And peed with Emily because of the dress? No. A little. She sheltered a cat in the attic of the barn. She wanted to take her home, but her mom didn't allow her because the cat was pregnant. So Emily sheltered in the attic of the barn and brought her food in secret. Not every day, but often. Is it her secret? Yes. She invited me to the attic to look at kittens. The attic was so dirty. All in dust and webs. God, I hate webs. But I wanted to have a good look at the kittens so much. There was a mom cat. I recognized her. It was she who tore Tweety. She hissed at me so loudly, and I kicked her. I wanted to kick her to death, but Emily stopped me. We had a fight because of that, and I told her about Tweety. She broke into a laugh and said that I was stupid, and I should have brought Tweety to her cat because Tweety was already dead anyway, but the cat still had kittens to feed. And it's not the kitten's fault that I'm stupid in a stupid dress. Were you mad at her? I were, very much. I punched her in the face with all my strength and pushed her. I wanted to punch her more, but she stumbled and fell down the stairs. You pushed her and she fell. Or she stumbled and fell. She stumbled after I pushed her. What did she stumble against? Don't know, I didn't see it. Did you want to kick her down the stairs? No. I wanted to beat her. Her and her stupid cat. I forgot that there were stairs. When Emily fell, I forgot about the cat. She was crying so loudly, and all of her face was bright blood, and her forehead was as if going black. I should have thrown the cat down the stairs too, right to the back forehead of Emily. Why is the light flickering? A stupid cat on a stupid forehead, a stupid Emily. This is not a good thing to do, and to say. She started it. It's not a good thing to do either. Is she okay? Don't know. I got frightened and ran away. But Dad went to visit her in the hospital and said that she's going to be alright. Did your parents scold you? No. They didn't scold me at all, but Dad didn't talk to me at all. Hey, lean towards the speaker. I'll whisper something to your ear. The system gives you access to a record of what happened at the playground. Actually, you may write anything or describe what actually happened. The most important thing is to fill in all the fields at the end of the meeting. Is it clear? Yeah. Good for you then. But you said I could watch the footage or have an accurate description not being given to me by a traumatized 8-year-old. What? Okay, her name is Hannah. The girl found herself involved. I thought I'd be able to type stuff out, but I guess there's no way you could program a game to understand everything somebody could type. Which, while hanging out with her friend, the following happened. Girl threw her friend down the stairs. The girl, frightened by a flying bird, tripped and fell down the stairs. The root cause of the event was... I'll say this, I mean... We're basically... But here's the thing, it's like a multiple choice. Our options are... State the truth. Try to make an excuse to exonerate the person. Or to refuse to elaborate. If we take the details out that I would have emotional feelings towards, and simply look at the facts of the case, Person A was invited over to hang out with Person B. Person B wanted to show Person A their cat and its kittens. Person A, recognizing that the cat was responsible for harming a bird that she had tried to nurse, but that probably died because it was getting fed milk, but it got injured from the cat and then was fed milk, and again, you can't really blame Hannah for that. It's just, she was trying to take care of. Also, the whole thing with the dad being friends with the mom and not having a dad there. I'm pretty sure Hannah and Emily are sisters. I think they're more than friends. I think the dad is fucking both moms. And I don't know what's going on with the uniform thing. And the strict part makes me think that, there might be other stuff going on. Also, if we're, supposedly in the afterlife and I'm asking questions to determine if she goes to heaven or hell, that means, one, my character's dead. And two, it means that after pushing her sister down the stairs, who she didn't even know was her sister but was her best friend, she shortly died thereafter herself too. Which means both sisters are dead. Which means, am I going to get to talk to the other sister, Emily? But I'd say in regard to the bird thing, Hannah's not to blame there. I mean, in that situation, I would say the adults, or the adults not noticing, is to blame. Now, as far as the fight, both showed some immaturity, but they're both fucking 8 years old. And more to the point, Hannah's definitely the one far more in the wrong here. Even without the stair pushing thing. That being said, obviously Hannah did bad things. She was trying to kick, an animal to death. And then, in her anger, became Anakin Skywalker. And basically, force choked Emily down a flight of stairs. Okay, my facetiousness aside, main point is she was being abusive to animals and was going to kill the cat, possibly kittens, and murdered her best friend and probably sister. Now, granted, it was not, one could say it's not intentional to kill the person, but at the same time, it's hard to say given the way certain things are. I think I'm hesitant to be strict on this because of the people's age and the fact that I understand in this circumstance Emily and Hannah were they're young, but also they're both very in the moment passions, sort of driven by their emotions and didn't really think things through. So I think a little bit of understanding. But at the same time, on the one hand, I want to be understanding of Hannah. That, she's not evil. It's just a shitty situation. On the other hand, let's think about Emily's mom. Maybe Emily, because since Hannah's here, did Emily's mom kill Hannah? And again, that's not justified either. But at the same time, it's understandable that Emily's mom would be, again, driven by emotions and be driven by the passion of how emotionally upset she'd be. But still, it's not justifiable. It's literally murdering a child at that point. It's just, even about the 8-year-old thing, it's you want to try to be understanding of people. At the same time, you also want to be mindful of the wrong that occurred to Emily. But then there's the fact that they're both fucking 8 years old. So on the one hand, if you look at it from the perspective of, say you're the parent of Hannah, well, you want to definitely be merciful and forgiving to Hannah and be like, no, it's fine. And, it's just, kids make sometimes terrible mistakes. But at the same time, if you're looking at the perspective of the parent of Emily, you would be absolutely devastated and distraught. And like I said, one major thing here is if we're doing a heaven-hell sort of thing, then that means, here's the thing. Was it wrong of what Hannah did? Yes. Does it deserve her to go to hell? No. Then again, I'm of the mindset that the idea of a hell is unjustifiable. It's not just to keep it wouldn't even be just like keep Hitler around and torture him for eternity. Let alone a fucking 8-year-old who admittedly did something fucked up. At the same time, it's an 8-year-old. And part of me, to a degree, wants to stay entirely truthful on this, and I should just say the truth. But if it gets the little girl sent to hell, that doesn't... And let's assume Emily goes to heaven. I'm pretty sure after a while in heaven, she's gonna feel awful about the idea of Hannah being in hell because of her. And again, like I said, I know I've discussed it in depth in other videos talking about hell and stuff, but that's a different conversation. But the main point is, what would you guys... I'll wait 7 seconds, but yeah, type in the comments. What would you do in this situation, and what do you think about this situation? I'm not condemning an 8-year-old as a murderer. I'm not condemning an 8-year-old. Are you going to suddenly become a monster? I understand the impression the game's trying to say that, she's a demon on the inside because, she did try to stomp a fucking cat to death, and she did murder her best friend / sibling. Also, this is still, granted, this is very menacing, but looking at this still comes off as menacing as well. Then again, maybe it's just the black eyes. I don't know. I understand, maybe it's supposed to be the idea is that she's actually a demon and she's supposed to she's fucking 8! Yes. It was fucking wrong of her to do what she did with the cat, and it was wrong of her to fucking kill her friend. But one, she's here now, which means she's probably dead. Which means somebody else killed her, or she killed herself. And again, she is fucking 8. Heck, that's probably the most disturbing fucking thing out of the Bible. It's after you eat the fucking fruit. And again, I'm not trying to blame God in this or try to insult God in any way. I'm just saying they wind up dressing themselves and they're oh, we hit ourselves because we're naked. And God's who told you were naked? And I'm what this makes me wonder is this. What was the mental faculties of Adam and Eve in the garden? Literally, how smart were they? And I'm not saying, they were stupid. I'm saying they didn't have parents. Neither of them had parents or a school system or any sort of context. I'm pretty sure books didn't exist. It's not like they had a Super Nintendo and, a TV and some sort of normal family structure. Here's the thing. how fucking, like, what were the mental faculties? I'm not saying like, oh, they were like mentally slow. I'm saying is they were mentally young. Like the way the thought process is at that point, it's almost like Adam and Eve are talking like they're fucking 4-year-olds. And even then, if they don't have knowledge, good and evil, like, okay, I mean, can you really judge them for like, even then, it's excessive punishment. I mean, it's like, what if you leave kids alone with like guns? I mean, here's the thing. I'm pro Second Amendment. I think guns are good. I think it's good for people to be able to defend themselves. But I also think anyone having a gun should have it properly locked up, should not have it anywhere near kids, and they should be properly trained on how to use it, and the guns should only be used for either self-defense or target practice, but should never be used to hurt others except in defense. That it should always be a tool of self-defense. And the purpose of going target practice is to improve your skills so that you are more capable and comfortable with it, so that you can defend your life and so you don't accidentally shoot yourself. Because there's a lot of people that get hurt with guns because, you know, people just don't know what to do, or they treat it like it's a fucking toy. Like, it's not. It's a very dangerous thing that can hurt people, if not kill them. But it's important for self-defense. But it should also only be used self-defense. And also, you shouldn't use it to, like, provoke people or something like that. It should always be an absolute last resort. It should be something that you have in case of emergency, but you should legitimately hope that you never have to use it. But this makes me concerned, like, all of a sudden, like, you chose wrong, and she's going to, like, her face is going to morph into be demonic. And one, like I said, I've addressed in other videos my views on hell, and, like, why, my explanation of why there's no justification for such a thing. But even in the scenario where there actually is a fucking hell, she is fucking 8 years old! Yes, it is fucked up what she did. But first off, why were there no adults involved in this situation? Like, for either of the kids, like, why was there no adult involved? But even then, she's here now, which means she's also dead. But she is 8. And even then, even if this was a story from somebody who's like 38, you could see that the person's not entirely evil, and they do have a sense of remorse, and they do have some very strong emotions on the matter. Now, obviously, when it comes to legal system, yeah, but this is like, it's very, like, I assume we're like, and again, everyone's like, oh, it's dishonest to him. You're like, I don't feel comfortable with the idea of, like, now, again, like, is there a line that she could cross to go further? That would be like an absolute go to hell sort of thing? Yes. One of it would be if the story was somehow much more graphic and less sympathetic. Yes. What she did was really fucked up. If this was a situation of, like, I'm a fucking police detective and we're trying to figure out how, you know, the other little girl died, at this point it would be best for me to be honest, out of concern that this child would require therapy. But at the same time, you're like, well, you can keep the kid out of the system, and they're less likely to get involved with that sort of stuff, because, you know, getting them with the rap sheet of being involved in that sort of thing, you know, could send them down a very negative path to where you basically take away their chance to just lead a normal life. But at the same time, people then could argue, does she deserve the chance to lead a normal life? Because, well, what she did was really fucking horrible. But at the same time, you can understand why it happened, and you can understand that she's fucking 8. But at the same time, it's just... It's very conflicting. I suppose the other thing would be is that if she was like being actively like her face morphed into something. Basically, if I was the interrogator for the fucking 8-year-old, I suppose the main thing that would make me pick here is if the person was scaring me. If me, the adult interviewing them, is actually terrified of them. Because like I said, I've seen videos on the internet of, actual kids being processed, in court cases and interviews. And some of them talk about certain things to where it's like, Jesus Christ. It's like where they describe things that fucking Charles Manson would be like, Jesus. Like, that would make him be, uncomfortable. And of course, like in a real life situation, you'd have to be concerned as a police detective of, well, if this person already acted out like that, do they need, like, they probably at least definitely need therapy to try to correct what's starting to go wrong with their soul. But at the same time, I wouldn't say the person's irredeemable, even if they're like in the 30s. Now, obviously, fucked up. And I'm much more likely to be, more strict in the punishment. But even then, I wouldn't know about sending someone to hell over that. I mean, it's fucked up and wrong. But, and even then, we're not even sure, like, what's the definitive. And everyone's like, you're playing this wrong. I'm like, I'm just saying, what would you guys pick? It's just... And maybe it's just the fact, and of course this is probably why the creator of the game chose this design for a character. They know that people in general, are, it's a fucking 8-year-old girl. It's like you feel, I don't know, is it actually my own feelings on the matter, or is it how like society, raised people to be, to be more compassionate and forgiving of some people more than others? Like, if it had been, like, just some random dude who in his 40s saying the same story, would I have been nearly as compassionate as I am right now about this? Or is it just the fact that I feel absolutely opposed to condemning a fucking child as a murderer or as, to going to hell? And here's the question. Is she technically a murderer in this situation? Yes. Yes, she is. But at the same time, I wouldn't say this person's irredeemable or deserving of hell. Now, obviously, in a situation like this, I'd imagine the parents of Emily would be very furious, and rightfully so. But at the same time, it's just... I just don't feel okay with condemning an 8-year-old. Do you really care? No. Not really. I just don't like it here. I remember, and you don't like me either. If I answer wrong, does the person I interview kill me? Like, am I gonna die? Is she gonna pull out a knife and stab me? Yes, I don't like that out lady either. Why me? You only tell what to do, not to do anything, and not do anything. You only tell what to do, and do not do anything yourself. Yes, I don't really like your two. I do my job, you do your job. Do you have a job for me? A bit later. When you grow up and become a doctor, you will treat everyone. Or maim. Again, I mean, yes, that is a distinct possibility. She has shown a severe psychological issue, but again, she's fucking 8. But again, she also did murder her friend / sibling. And what should I do now? The lady will do all the things now, and you'll go about your business. I have nothing to do. What do you mean? We need to clean your dress to make it look like a new one. Cool. Will you help me? I really don't like it here. Of course. I really don't like how it just pops. That feels uncomfortable. Okay. Not guilty. Exonerate the visitor. Go, Hannah. Be a good girl. But that's the thing. It's like, yes. And that's the thing. That's part of a jury trial. That's part of the ideal of a jury trial here in America. 1, you first off state the circumstances of the case. And firstly, the jury doesn't vote entirely on did the person do it, did they not. First, it's a series of checks, and many jury members don't even know this themselves, because a lot of times it's not fucking explained to them. But I'll tell you this, regardless of what, like anyone listening to this, regardless of what country you live in, whether it's America, England, Germany, Japan, Australia, China, Russia, France, doesn't matter. Whatever country you live in, it is important for you to know the laws of the country you live in. You live in America, you should know the laws there in America. You live in Japan, you should know the laws in Japan. And I'm an American. If I suddenly were to move to Japan, I better damn well try my best to know the laws in Japan. You should know the laws of wherever you are. And first and foremost is this. If the jury believes that the person accused of the crime did not actually commit the crime, then, there's obviously, is this. There's guilty and not guilty. But even then, it's first off, the way a jury trial works is it's supposed to be all people are innocent until proven guilty, and that it is unacceptable to punish innocent people for a crime they did not commit. Even if there are situations where a guilty person goes free, it is better that 10 guilty people go free than you punish a single innocent person. Because it is a tragedy anytime an innocent person is put in prison or punished for a crime they did not commit. The way a jury trial works is first off, the jury decides if the person did or did not commit the crime. If the jury decides that by at least a reasonable doubt that they do not believe that the individual accused committed the crime, if there's at least a reasonable doubt that they did, if there's at least a reasonable doubt that they did not commit the crime, not guilty. So it's not even definitively prove that they didn't do it. If there's even reasonable doubt that there was a chance they didn't do it, they're innocent, and you acquit. That's how that works. Now the second way of the 3 ways, and technically there's more, but I'm trying to simplify it. The second way is that the jury looks at the details of the case and they find, yes, the defendant the accused is guilty and they did commit the crime they're accused of. But the methods in which the police force or the court gathered evidence was illegal. At which point, even in that situation, where the person accused of the crime is guilty of the crime, the jury can still forgive and declare them acquitted of the crime and to be free of punishment, because they find that the way that the government went about getting the evidence to prove that guilt was unethical. Thus, it is then unethical to condemn that person for the crime, even if every jury member has a 100% certainty that the person accused committed the crime. If you can at least see that the way that the evidence was procured was unethical, then it is then unethical to condemn that person. Then we have a situation like this, where the jury, which is a jury of one right now, me, one, we know for a fact that Hannah is guilty. She is guilty. Hannah is guilty of the crime she committed, and there was nothing unethical about how the evidence against her was received. However, the third thing a jury may rule someone as not guilty or acquitted of a crime for is if the jury individually decides that the person should not be punished for the crime. For example, one, well, technically two things would apply here. Both would apply. The first one, not as much. The second one, much more. So 10% the first one, 90% the second one. The first one being, a jury can rule someone that they know is 100% guilty of a crime as innocent if they look at the crime the person committed and the circumstances of it and feel that either one, they would have committed the crime themselves under those circumstances, or two, if it's understandable and forgivable, and at the very least, even if it still deserves punishment, the jury can at least feel that, hey, the crime they committed does still deserve punishment, but does not deserve the punishment that will be given to them if I pass on the guilty verdict here. So in this situation, I'll do not guilty, because even though the person deserves a punishment, and they in this situation will not receive any punishment, it is better to give the person no punishment than to give them the far too severe punishment. Like basically, if the person did something that deserved like 1 year of prison, but they're being threatened that if they get ruled guilty of the crime, they're going to be given 50 years of prison. Well, they might be deserving of 1 year of prison, but if you declare guilty, they get 50. You're like, that's not just, so you're just going to declare them innocent. That's 10% of this. The other thing is this, is that you can look at the circumstances of it and you feel sympathetic to the individual involved, feeling that they should not bear the full responsibility of the crime they committed. So even like in this situation, yes, Hannah is 100% guilty of murder. She absolutely committed murder. And it was not unethical how the stuff was procured. And while there is some understanding for the circumstances, it is still not justifiable or a thing where I think most people would think they would do the same. However, there is still the fact that there are extenuating circumstances that basically she doesn't deserve the punishment that would be given to her in this situation, even if she wasn't a fucking 8-year-old. Two, it's not like she isn't a demon, she isn't a monster. But there is something wrong. And I'll be honest, I would be concerned about this Hannah child, possibly hurting other kids. So, but I would think the most important thing in that situation would be to give the person therapy and to make sure they have, a caring family and and as close to a normal childhood as possible. And again, other people may have different reasoning on this. And maybe it just comes down to the fact that I just don't feel comfortable with condemning an 8-year-old. It'd be like if I was a jury of like a murder trial and they're prosecuting a literal fucking 8-year-old girl in a fucking courtroom and I have to deliberate on guilty or not guilty. Now, when it comes right down to it, is she guilty of committing murder? Yes. Are the circumstances of why she did it for understandable? Not really. She still went way too far. And there was nothing unethical about how they got the evidence. But there's still the fact that at the end of the day, she's an 8-year-old girl. And I feel that means she would deserve a modicum of mercy. Like, I wouldn't, like, if a guilty verdict would have, like, given her the electric chair, I am not going to say guilty and give an 8-year-old the fucking electric chair. Now, at the same time, I wouldn't leave this 8-year-old alone with other kids anymore. And I would strongly look into getting them therapy and making sure that, they actually have much more, parental involvement and psychiatric help so that, one, we can avoid other kids getting hurt from other circumstances. But even then, again, it's not like she did it because she just wanted to hurt her friend. It was, there were pent-up emotions, there were immature fucking 8-year-olds, and a person reacting to, oh, this is the cat that hurt my bird. But then again, also, the bird died because you were giving the bird milk. And I'm pretty sure birds aren't meant to drink milk. And even then, you might have been, like, drowning it at that point, like, by, feeding it too quickly. I mean, the bird was probably not trying to drink the milk and probably forced to drink the milk. I'm just saying this. I wouldn't condemn a fucking 8-year-old to the electric chair or to hell. But in this situation, like, my only concern here is this. Would she hurt other kids? But at the same time, I feel like this would be a situation for her to learn from, and she would be careful not to behave like that again and not to hurt anyone else. Now, of course, does that bring Emily back to life? No. In fact, who knows? Maybe Emily isn't dead. She said Emily was okay and went to the hospital, but again, was she? I feel like this is like unreliable narrator here to the point where even though she's not lying, even if you're an adult, you can misunderstand the circumstances going on around you. At the same time, if you're a child, a lot of times you're very naive. Then again, there are also some adults who, it's not that they're mentally slow or even necessarily naive, but there are sometimes adults will sort of do a slight acute regression. And by that I mean, it's kind of, look at it this way. People with like severe depression sometimes have a harder time learning or focusing on new tasks or information because their mind is sort of preoccupied with, well, sad thoughts and thoughts about past traumas. In the same regard, I forgot what I was talking about. Something I can't remember. Yeah, I don't remember what I was talking about. But acute regression or something. All right, like the main point being is, like, think of it like compartmentalization. Normally, compartmentalization works like in military and government shit. Like, here's the thing. A lot of people look at, like, government stuff and they think, oh, this person's part of the Department of Defense. They know everything going on. Like, no. 99% of the people in government don't know shit that's going on. It's compartmentalization and usually just a bunch of people being lied to people other. And a lot of people that think they do know certain things, it's just a lot of disinformation within their own systems. I guess the best way to put it is think of it as an adult, but they're more so doing compartmentalization with their own feelings and, well, ability to process logic. It's, if anything, a self-defense mechanism. Usually for PTSD or severe traumas, or just things that are very psychologically painful, to where people just sort of do a mix of apathetic depression as well as a mix of like just compartmentalizing certain painful feelings of things that have happened as ways of, well, coping. I guess it's, think of it about like, imagine somebody who's very smart, but they just sort of like imagine somebody who's like very smart and at the core they understand things that have happened that make them experience pain of an emotional type, and then they just sort of push that to the side and just sort of almost like dissociation, I would suppose, but like as a self-defense mechanism. To where almost like, heck, like this 8-year-old girl here. To where even an adult can, like, part of their mind can basically regress to viewing the world the same way a person did back when they were like 8 or 9 years old. Just as a way of, I guess, escapism, of running away from dealing with facing certain truths about things that have happened that were painful. At which point people in that situation would probably deal with certain things in bits and pieces and just sort of go back and forth as a metronome on it. To be simultaneously stable and unstable. Oh well. It's either good or bad, I'm not decided. But, I don't know, everything I said probably sounds stupid. It's just... Like I said, the big concern is I wouldn't want Hannah to hurt anyone else, but at the same time, it'd be unlikely to have the exact circumstances that caused that to happen again. Now, of course, would she be psychologically burdened down by knowing that and dealing with that sort of stuff, and could that cause the thing? And of course, could it be a symptom of something worse that could become more pronounced as her becoming actually very dangerous to people as she gets older? Possibly. But she is still a kid. And like I said, other people would say that no, she deserves to be punished and go to hell or whatever shit, and where you would actually give the fucking 8-year-old an electric chair. And I mean, everyone's got their different view on the matter. It's just, And maybe it's just the fact that, yeah, it's just a fucking 8-year-old. But I wouldn't feel comfortable with giving an 8-year-old a fucking electric chair. I wouldn't feel comfortable sending an 8-year-old to fucking hell. I'll figure it out on my own who to be. Okay? Wait for instructions. Good girl. Well, not quite good, but she's a kid. Nothing to be claimed. What? No. Whatever. I'm talking about you. You're a good girl. You quickly figured out how it all works here. Chop, 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 and the trick's done. Experience matters. I wish everyone would work like this. Thanks, perhaps. But you shouldn't teach children to swear. That's not good. I'm sorry, that wasn't on purpose. I was agitated, and I just sort of cussed. My bad. I told her not to say the F word. Okie dokie, I won't. Just tell me, do you have coffee here? Yes, of course. Take a sip and let's move on. Yay! You have forever good coffee. And Pepsi. And Baja Blast. Move on. Of course, you have a few cases more. But don't be afraid. There's not much. Using your skills, you'll make quick work and be free. By free, you mean... What do you mean by free? What's going to happen then? Well, let's move on. Couldn't help but notice that you do a good job. So here's a harder case. You said that nobody monitors my work. Do I monitor it? As I say, I couldn't help but notice. If you notice something because of the fact that you couldn't notice it, is it spying? Think, for instance, of big boobs! Because of respect for a person you talk to, you at least try not to gape at them. But you just can't notice that the person has big, outstanding boobs. If the talking persons are not two women... Oh, come on. Women stare at outstanding boobs just as much men. Okay, question. Dear women... Well, my guy... Well, let's say, who you think women watch your channel. Let's be clear. No one watches my channel. There is no one who's ever going to watch this video. And if you do, you probably... I can't imagine I make any sort of good impression. I imagine everyone probably hates me. But okay. Question. Whoever you are, do you like boobs? If you're a woman, do you like boobs? I like boobs. Do you stare at boobs? Well, okay, enough about petty things. Pretty things. We're actually doing business here. The next case is wearisome. Like everything else, adolescent maximalism. Case of the disappearance of a high school student. The tragedy was preceded by a series of events, the main of which was... During the conversation with the interrogated, it's turned out that the friend... Okay. And don't distract me unless absolutely necessary. I have urgent business. What do you mean urgent business? Hello, where am I? Hi, have some ideas. Clearly not in a shopping mall. You're right. We're clearly not in a shopping mall. Are you a social worker or something like that? I guess that's not entirely inaccurate. I probably should call a video. I need to do shorter videos. And I kind of got carried up talking about, well, it's just me being dumb. Later.